Welcome back to the Skid Factory. We've got the 1JZ back here from Toowoomba, all wrapped in plastic, ready to go, bad boy bubby style. We're going to fit up the sump and seal it up, valve covers and that sort of thing, ready to start slinging it in. We've got a gearbox and converter over there ready to bolt onto it. Before we do that, we've got the Torana up on the hoist here. Lee, the owner of the car's in the back, getting rid of more rat smells. He's going to remove the carpet and burn it and clean up the seats and stuff. He's making a bit of noise there, but you get that. We're going to get into the engine bay and just remove everything that's no longer required. It's got a lot of brackets and stuff for mechanical throttle linkages and that sort of thing that aren't going to be used. So we're going to clean all that up, get rid of everything. Get it ready. We're going to paint it, but we'll probably fit the engine up and everything because we may have to cut things to make things fit. So we'll do that after that's done.
Who's painting it?
I think there's a guy named Woody that's supposed to be really good at painting.
Nope.
Apparently.
Nope.
Apparently he mixes paint like a boss with a screwdriver. But anyway, we'll figure that out. If Woody doesn't want to do it, we'll get panel beater Mark in. What else are we planning on doing?
Remove the exhaust and...
Oh, there's a whole bunch of junk underneath we've got to get rid of. We'll probably test fit the engine first, see if we've got to cut up the cross member to clearance it. If so, we'll pull it back out and pull the cross member out, cut her up, recheck it, then pull the cross member assembly out and do all the bushes and everything in it before finally refitting it. We'll probably paint it while everything's out. The diff in that looks okay, but we will pull it all apart just to see what's inside there.
You don't want to do it, Dave?
No. No one can do it like Dave. I'm not worried about that. We've got a few plates and stuff to make up here to block off what used to be ventilation systems. We'll do that as well. Get rid of all the braking system and start again. It's got this weird booster setup on it that I think we're just going to put a Subaru booster and master on it. And adapt it to that and rebuild the pivoting system on that setup. Pull all those fuel lines out because they suck. We'll replace them with Teflon braid up and back. So we got heaps to do. Woody, come out. We haven't glued this bottom pan on yet because we're missing a windage tray. It just wasn't there when Lee bought the engine. And also we don't know whether we might need to modify this cap. So we've ordered a tray off Golebys and we're gonna throw it in and see what happens first and we'll glue it on later.
Are you putting the letterbox back on?
Yeah, just need to get the hole cut first.
We slung the engine and trans in. Can't say it fits real well, to be honest. The rear or mid-rear sump from a Supra or Sora, we sort of assumed that that would be the right one because this had a rear sump 202 originally, but because it's not a complete rear sump, it's sort of halfway in where it doesn't need to be and can't fit, so we're actually going to pull it back out again and pull that sump off and swap it for a front sump. Turns out the 308 that was in it actually had a front sump on it, just a sort of a custom-made skinny front sump to allow for the steering rack. So we'll probably do a similar thing with it, with the Toyota front sump, and see if we can get it to fit. I had a similar issue with a BMW that I did once, an E30 that we put a 2JZ in, and it's got the same sort of front rack set up on it, and we just basically cut a big relief out of the front out of the steel bottom pan, and it sort of fitted in okay. So we'll probably look at doing that. So now we just got to rip it back out again.
Hey, Nickers.
Can it go back? So we've pulled the engine and taken the mid-rear sump off and bolted the front sump on. It is going to work better. It's still going to require a fair bit of surgery though. We're going to have to obviously cut up the sump pan, like the lower pan section that's made out of pressed steel to clear the steering rack. I would like to get the engine down a bit further. I've just made a little quick bracket across the back transmission mount holes there just to hold the gearbox up. Chock of wood here. This is how I normally do it when I'm mounting an engine. Just mount things. I usually anchor the gearbox and then mount the engine on a piece of wood or 10 pieces of wood depending on what the shape is. It just allows you to move things around a bit and change the heights and get your clearances right before we start making mounts. I'm looking for some space around the steering rack at the moment, so we're sort of working out what we can do there, having a bit of a think about it. Don't actually know what we're going to do yet, but the engine's definitely going to have to come out at least a couple of more times. And
I'm going to say 4 more times.
yeah, seems like a reasonable guess.
Lucky I didn't paint those valve covers yet, eh?
It's a bit premature. So we'll pull this engine back out again and go looking for space, I think. But it's all good, it's going to work. The exhaust manifold we got, it isn't going to work, so we'll have to exchange that with a different type from Golebys, but that's no big deal. The inlet manifold, the Golebys CPC manifold is going to fit, so that's all good. Otherwise it'll just do a bit of chopping and changing and welding and stuff, and it should go in. This reminds me a bit of a Bedford, but heaps easier. We had the engine in and out a couple of more times in attempts to find space to get it down lower. I think it's okay where it is. I would prefer it to be a bit lower because it's got a bit more driveline angle than you'd sort of want in theory. But engine conversions are engine conversions, and you've got to make things fit within reason. The steering rack is an issue. We've sort of tweaked it and dropped it down a little bit to give us a bit more sump space to craft a new sump. So that's okay.
And using the front sump is the final position, Alan?
So you can use the rear sump, but to do so you've either got to sort of recess into the firewall a bit, which is very much frowned upon for a road car in Australia, or completely reshape the cross member to allow it to fit.
Which is also kind of frowned upon, isn't it? Not really.
Cross member, not so much. Firewall, very much. Yes, we have odd laws in Australia. Who knows why? Don't know. It's always been like that. So we just got to work within them. But I think I've got enough space to get a sort of a reasonable, basically for the sump to curve down.
That's this one here, right? You got to.
Yeah. So we're going to lose here because that's where the steering rack is.
Do you have to add capacity into the sides or something like that, or?
I don't think so. There's actually a variant of this sump in the GS300s that already is like that. I'm not going to bother getting one of them because it won't be exactly what we need, but I think there's still going to be plenty of oil in it. So, but we'll just measure it with some water.
There was a chance to rip on RBs again there, bro.
What? You don't need to rip on them. They rip on themselves. So, as it sits now, I'm sort of okay with the positioning of it.
That's bang in the centre, is it? Yeah.
Oh.
Where's the centre mark?
It was last time I looked, but
And level.
you know, make a bunch of measurements. We just got a block of wood under there holding it up at the right height. So rather than just rip in and start making mounts for it now, what we're going to do is grab things, big parts like manifolds and radiator and see whether they're going to fit, because if we just ignore that and throw it all in, you may cause yourself a lot more work later when you find out that you've got no room for something else.
We've done that before too.
Of course. It's always tempting to get it mounted and crack open a lemon squash. So we're going to, we've already tried the exhaust manifold and we know that doesn't fit purely because of the way the wastegate outlet is. It's just not an easy manifold to modify as far as the outlet goes. So we just got on to Goleby and he said you can get them without that wastegate outlet, but he doesn't have them in stock. So then he said, what about this one? And they've got another model that I didn't know about. It's like a Pro Mod style manifold, so it comes up and forward and the turbo's around here somewhere. And we got the tape measure out and made a few measurements and
That's here now, eh? Yep.
exchanged pleasantries, and then he sent me the other one to see if it'd fit. So we'll throw that on, see how it looks.
And what if that doesn't fit?
We'll have to get one made or make one.
Yep.
So, which takes time. This is the manifold Lee originally got from Golebys. It's got the wastegate outlet sort of coming out the edge there. Problem is the chassis rail's real close. If that wasn't there, we could have just put it in the housing. That wouldn't have been a problem, but because it's so formed into it, it'd be a horrible looking patch on there.
These are Golebys manifolds he makes, though?
They're made by Tonka, which is a Malaysian manufacturer, to his design as far as I'm aware. So they're pretty sweet. It's actually, it looks like a China manifold, but it's not. It's made out of like steam pipe, like Schedule 10, stainless steel, not thin wall, and it's actually made properly. So they're not too bad. They got like CNC flanges and shit that are really thick. So that one doesn't work. That'll work on just about any other car that doesn't have a weird chassis rail like this thing does. So this is the Pro Mod version of it. So you can see that's just like a high mount, and this is manifold right up forward, turbo down here, scrolls around that way, exhaust goes out through here. Because it rises up, it goes above the rails. So
That looks pretty fancy, eh?
it's probably a bit of overkill seeing as the turbo's not real big, but
I'm going to say it's like Pro Mod manifold with tiny tiny turbo flange. And insert. Oh, that does fit pretty nice. Yeah, you pop that on, I'll get the turbo. What turbo is this again?
GTW 36 something or other, 78 or something, I don't know.
Isn't it the same as like Benny's Stage? No? No.
No, this is the one size down from like what we put on the Fairlane.
Oh, yeah.
So plain bearing, billet compressor, no water cooling, a lot cheaper than the other the ball bearing ones. So
That hits though.
yeah, it does contact the body a bit.
Oh man, that looks so sick. All this room for activities down here too.
Yeah, there's not much room for activities here though, so.
What do you do there then?
Well, we were considering not using boosted brakes anyway because it's going to have like massive brakes for the size of the car, and if we just spec the master cylinder right, they'll work fine.
Do you want some nuts for this? You've had this on already, you know it fits, don't you?
It doesn't fit, it hits.
Yeah, but you've had it on.
Yeah,
sure.
no, I got this manifold, this shiny manifold, and this sweet turbo, and I was just staring at it, and I thought, bugger that, I'm not going to try and fit it. No way in the world.
Schmeek. That looks sick.
So we might just cut through here because this is going to require some body surgery, which is a lot harder than just snipping this part of the manifold here, and just take a little section out of it and just roll it around a bit so it clears.
Oh yeah.
And it'll just straighten up that. We've got plenty of room. This thing doesn't have much in the way of, like, it's basically a bare bones sort of thing as far as engine accessories, like drive accessories goes. It's going to have an alternator, so we've got plenty of room for activities. So that's pretty sweet. Inlet manifold. We also
Don't get it.
we're a massive pain in Golebys' arse with that as well.
Is this Harrop locker for this thing too?
Nah, that's for another project.
2 of them. Can I keep one of those?
Have you got a 1JZ?
No?
What do you want it for?
My cousin's uncle's brother's 1.5 JZ.
I'm sure you can keep it if you pay Goleby for it. So we've decided to change from cable throttle to e-throttle and go to a 2500 because we've got some plans for some extra things that we want to do to this car that are sort of new stuff that Haltech's providing.
That's not just the difference in those though, no. This is a different plenum.
It is a slightly different shape. I don't know why, but this is a heap simpler because it doesn't have. There's your idle control facility. It's got like the throttle cable, sort of anchor bracket and all that sort of stuff. So there's a bit more crap going on. Whereas this has just got that Bosch throttle on it, so it's heaps simpler. So this fits. That fits.
Without this.
No, it fits with that, but this fits better because it doesn't have any of. It's mainly because of that.
Oh, that'll hit the rail then, eh?
Yeah. So that's going on. You see, we've taped it up because
Did someone ding it already?
it was Lee. Lucky it was him because it's his car. It's tight.
Instagram pics, bro. 99%
Yeah, it's
complete.
actually. I would call it 99.9. Just peel the tape off and we're done.
Dude, that looks so sick.
Radiator is our other issue.
Where's that thing gone?
It's behind you, so
I'll let you pick that up. I can't get that with one
you
hand.
can probably see the behind that manifold over there. There's the ADRAD catalogue that I use that and a tape measure and spend hours going through the catalogue looking for a radiator. And at the end of it, we just ended up with a S15 radiator because that's what fits JZ engines really well. What I was looking for was a radiator that came with had the right outlets and stuff, but also had factory thermofans, because then you can buy the thermofans as an aftermarket part and have all factory thermofans and everything, because it's actually a lot cheaper to do it that way. But I searched in vain and couldn't actually find the right radiator that had thermos. Like, so there was a couple of radiators that would have worked, but were conventional clutch fan sort of setups. But
does that sit in there at all? Can you just plonk that in?
It does, but this front of that is tight. But what I'm going to do is, this has already been cut out for the previous radiator that it had. It had a looks like it had a Commodore radiator in it to me, with these dodgy things on it because they slide in there. That's how it mounts. So it'll work. I might just drop this. See how that's sitting higher than it needs to be?
Oh yeah.
We could drop that down. It's just touching the fan.
That's efficiency there, bro.
That's a big air leak.
Mm-hmm.
These actually work really well on JZs and 1UZs. I've used them heaps of times.
eBay?
Yeah, Lee just bought it off, I guess, eBay. Just sends stuff. So we're pretty happy with all that stuff. Now we've got to pull all the back off, pull the engine back out. These brackets, the original brackets for the 202, they're completely not in the right place. So
can't see anything.
There's not much point retaining them.
Oh, the standard engine mount.
Yeah, so
on the cross member.
We got tough mount brackets that bolt to them, but they're just so far forward that they're not really practical. I'll show you. Moment, please.
Don't scratch it. Yeah, okay. So
that's where those things go on. And it's so far out of the scope that there's no point keeping them. So we're just going to cut them off and give us some space for other shit that could be there later on.
Like that or something?
That's how they normally work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Microphone check. I hurt my ears.
That or this way? That way, I think. We've got a bit of work to do. It's no Bedford, to be honest, but it's not bolting a 202 in either. We'll get to work, because it doesn't do it itself. And get this engine out, weld some stuff up, and you'll see that next week. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe and like and comment.
See if we find another magazine.
Are you reminiscing of the times you spent in here, mate?
By myself.
They're stuck to the floor.
Glued to the floor. How'd that happen?
There we go. 10 cents.
So much leakage. Is that a shim? Wheel alignment shim?
Where?
Right there in front of your finger. Other finger.
That'll be off the brakes.
Oh, brake clip.
This is like full Dave spec. White interior.
Yeah.
Is
there like a PF sale or something?
He had some left over from his speedboat retrim.
These come in the auto salon show bags.
Shitloads of LJ Toranas at Auto Salon.
I took the TV screen.
He took the bloody droid body kit off it.
What about a
after its career was over at Auto Salon.
Heavy little seat.
The TV screens and the wheels and shit.
I can't stand that smell, eh?
It's pleasant. Probably should have K24 swapped it, bro.
Yeah, cheers.
Why didn't you put a K motor in, bro?
I didn't want to. Alan tried to push me into it, but...
Lies.
Do you like that I'm wearing my beanie like Griefy above my ears?
Well, because you got headphones on.
Yeah.
What's Griefy's excuse?
Griefy's excuse is that it's a fashion thing.
He's a Rasta man.
Did you know that you can get yourself a Skid Factory beanie at www.theskidfactory.com and you can look stunning just like Woodregos?
You know you don't have to say www anymore because it's
HTTPS
not the 90s,
//
apparently.
Quite warm. Link in my bio, swipe up.
I don't know what that means.